In the ongoing strike to get the rideshare companies, talking about Uber and Lyft, to do right by us drivers, there is often one major issue that gets little attention. Nevertheless, any of us drivers could be caught in this situation, and if you are, that's your ass. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. This is somewhat disturbing. It is a driver that encountered violence. No big deal. Drivers in ride sharing, certainly those who drive after hours, have violence bestowed upon them all the time. There is no shortage of stories we cover featuring drivers that get robbed, raped, carjacked, and even murdered all the time. But it is the end of this story that makes us realize there is more that needs to be done, more that needs to be protested, and certainly more that needs to be accomplished for ride sharing to even be worth it. This comes from an article titled, "Lyft Driver Caught in Crossfire of Aberdeen Drive-By Shooting Told to Return Rental Car." The story features a driver that went to pick up some passengers and gunplay ensued. But that's not the worst of it. As I stated earlier, drivers are involved in all sorts of violence all the time. Fact is, if you're picking up strangers on a constant basis, any damn thing can happen to you. And in ride sharing, it often does. But listen to the details of this story. The driver, whom 11 News is not identifying for safety reasons, said she was working around 10:45 p.m. Wednesday when Lyft sent her to Perrywood Garden Apartments in Aberdeen to drop off a pair of passengers and pick up a second pair at the same complex. At some point, shots were fired and the driver was caught in the crossfire. Now, the big red flag on this is what I talk about all the time, folks on other content channels. I don't know other content creators mention it, but you're certainly going to hear it here. Driving after dark has additional disadvantages for us drivers. That's when a lot of the violence takes place. This story here, 10:45 p.m. My saying often is nothing good happens after midnight. This is pretty damn close, an hour and 15 minutes before. But driving after dark comes with its problems. Majority of the stories that we cover here that drivers encounter violence, it's well after dark. It's well after business hours. So understand, when you're driving after hours, this is the type of thing that you leave yourself at risk for. We'll talk about defensive tools. You know I'm an avid fan of being armed on every single trip with every passenger every damn time. Nevertheless, sometimes there's nothing you can do. And when you listen to the driver here, it's pretty clear that she was in that situation. The bullets came so fast, glass being pierced and flying in my face. You heard metal as I was driving fast to get out of there. My back tires were shot out, the driver told 11 News. So the vehicle she is in is being shot up. So fact is, this sounds like an assassination attempt. I've covered many stories featuring passengers who got into an Uber or Lyft car and they were immediately shot at by someone else. I've covered a story in Atlanta where a woman was shot at 50 times. They killed her in the back of an Escalade. Stories in Chicago where drivers were murdered in the back of Uber and Lyft vehicles. And I believe I've even covered some stories where the drivers did not survive like this Lyft driver did. Fact is, if you're in a car and somebody's shooting that shit up, it is a coffin. We know bullets go through the metal of vehicles pretty damn easy. So it sounds like this driver did survive, but this is not by any means where the drama ends. In fact, it gets worse for this driver after the shooting ended. For the simple fact is, she was driving a rental car. You heard in the beginning of the story, she is being told to return the rental car. But hear the story in continuation. The driver says she didn't hear from the rideshare company after the car she was driving was shot up. I contacted ADT as I was supposed to. They have 30 seconds to get back to me. They never did, the driver told 11 News. Now, She was renting a vehicle from some outfit called Flex Ride. Get this. She's paying $500 a week to rent a vehicle to engage in rideshare. I don't know much about the Aberdeen market, but at this stage in the game, 2024, I don't see how you could pay $500 to rent a car and drive for rideshare and really even turn a profit. If you drive 5 days a week, that's $100 per day you got to give out of your earnings just simply to the rental car company. That's not gas or any of the other shit that comes along with it. Now, I don't know if insurance is charged on top of the $500 or if it's included in it. My guess is they may be charging that shit on top, but even at $500 a day, you certainly got to drive more than 5 days a week to make this worthwhile. Suppose if you drive 6 days a week, still, that's got to be $70-$80. I'm not doing the math properly, but that's still quite a bit of money to come out of a daily take in ride sharing. $200, $200 to $250 a day in ride sharing is a good day if you're driving for base fare with all of these $3 to $5 trips. So I don't see how paying $500 to rent a vehicle plus the gas is worthwhile. Maybe I'm not doing the math correctly in my head. Let me know in the comments. $500 per week to rent a vehicle, to do rideshare. Would that be profitable in your market? I don't see it. I don't see it. Unless you're renting a vehicle where there is little to no fuel cost. Maybe an electric vehicle and they're allowing you to charge it for free or some shit like that. But I don't see it. Let me know in the comment section. Also, she states she called ADT. I don't know if that's the home monitoring outfit. I don't know what those acronyms stand for, but she's told to contact them, and they have 30 seconds to respond in an emergency. They never got back to her. This is where the drama begins, folks. This is what we're talking about. In addition to protesting wages, protesting lack of transparency, we need to protest the fact that when drama goes down, Uber and Lyft are unable to be contacted. They're nowhere to be found. This story gets even worse because this driver now has dealt with a traumatic event. The car she is renting for $500 a week has been shot up, and the rental car company, once she reported this, they're texting her, give us the car back. She's being told to give the car back in, but unfortunately, the Aberdeen PD has the car in evidence. It's evidence in an attempted homicide. So they're not going to give the car back right away. The dilemma, they're charging her $500 per week on a car she's not making any money for, and she cannot return because it has been submitted into evidence for the police. So she's paying money on a car that's not making her any profit and she has no access to. And because she cannot get in contact with anyone, this is the drama we're dealing with. Here's the actual continuation or the ending of the story. Even on the night of the shooting, I called on the night this happened. All this stuff is automated. That's the problem. I need to talk to people, not a machine, the driver told 11 News. Now, WBAL-TV 11 News reached out to corporate headquarters and could not get through to an actual person either. That's the drama. That's the whole purpose of this video, is that if something happens, there is no one to reach out to for relief. There absolutely should be. These companies have millions of drivers making billions in cash. And if one of us, God forbid, goes through some shit like this, we've covered drivers that were robbed and raped. And when they reach out to the ride sharing companies, not only do they not get a caring representative, they don't get no one at all. We covered a story in the suburbs of Chicago, whereas a driver was carjacked, tried to reach out, I believe it was Lyft in that case as well, tried to reach out and tell Lyft that they had been carjacked. Because no one responded, the criminal went on to carjack other ride-sharing drivers. That's fucked up. That is inexcusable. So when we're fighting for transparency, fighting for legislation to get these companies to do right, we need to start fighting for this shit. that in every instance, a driver that is behind the wheel of a vehicle should have someone they can contact, an actual human being. And the thing that's ridiculous about this has been a problem from day one. From day one, drivers have been complaining that when you need to ask anything, whether you're concerned about you getting ripped off in the pay, whether you're concerned about trying to get in contact with a passenger that left something in your vehicle, whatever the case may be, if you need to contact Uber or Lyft, it can be extremely difficult. And because they're doing things on an automated format, oftentimes the responses you get don't have a damn thing to do with why you're trying to contact them. It's as if they have pre-recorded responses that listen for a couple keywords in your statement and they send that shit out to you. And if you need to follow up because the shit they're sending to you makes no damn sense, there's no human being you can get in contact with. This woman has resorted to hiring a lawyer. I suppose that eventually someone at Lyft's headquarters will respond, but she definitely should sue the shit out of them. If you got a rental car, first of all, the money she's having to continue to pay while the vehicle is in evidence because she can't get in touch with anybody of a human nature to get this shit solved, all of that should go back to her. But the mental anguish that comes along with it as well. Maybe if they had answered the damn phone, take the car back, make an insurance claim, give her another vehicle and let her go back out there if she's brave enough to do that shit. But whatever the case may be, there should be a human answering the phone for us drivers 24 hours a day, particularly if you are out there at 10:45 at night. Shit happens. Shit happens. Happens all the time. I'm always covering stories of drivers encountering nefarious characters, and some drivers do not survive the shit at all. God bless this woman for surviving. Most likely she's done as a rideshare driver. She did go on in the article to state what we all feel. The companies don't give a damn about us. She definitely said that the companies don't give a damn about us. And after reading what happened to her, who could disagree? Have you ever tried to contact Uber or Lyft? Actually tried to reach a human being? What was your experience? Now, they used to have these hubs in different cities. Most of those are gone. Most Uber and Lyft markets do not feature any physical location you can go to. That's probably 99% of Uber and Lyft markets. There is no physical location you can go to. Have you ever tried to contact them where you absolutely needed to speak to a human? What was your experience like? It's your boy Tim. As always, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.